Oak Glen, California. A powerful mudslide swept through Oak Glen on Thursday afternoon, forcing multiple road closures and knocking down power lines. Eyewitness footage captured the moment the torrent of mud and debris surged across a roadway, leaving vehicles stranded and access blocked. Authorities reported that Oak Glen Road, between Chagall and Potato Canyon, will remain shut down while heavy equipment is brought in to clear the area. Officials urged the public to avoid the zone to allow emergency crews to work safely. The National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning until 7:15 p.m. for portions of San Bernardino County, warning residents that conditions could remain hazardous. Oak Glen, California has always been a place of contrast. Perched in the foothills of the San Bernardino Mountains, it is a town known for apple orchards, winding rural roads, and the kind of crisp autumn air that draws visitors from across Southern California. Families drive up from Los Angeles and Orange County to pick apples, sip cider, and escape the endless sprawl of the city. But nature, as Oak Glen residents know all too well, can shift from gentle to merciless in the space of a single storm. The summer had been brutal. Wildfires had scorched nearby slopes the previous year, stripping the hillsides of vegetation that once held the soil in place. Locals worried quietly, remembering what fire seasons often foreshadow in California: floods, landslides, mud. When the first rains came in early September, they were welcomed. The air smelled of wet earth, the dust rinsed from leaves, and orchards seemed to sigh with relief. But by mid-September, the storms had turned relentless. Bands of rain rolled off the Pacific, driven inland by tropical remnants that had drifted north from Baja California. For 3 days it poured without pause. Creeks swelled, turning brown and turbulent. The mountain soil, loose and scarred from past burns, drank its fill and then began to choke. Slopes sloughed off in chunks, first small rockfalls, then sheets of mud cascading down narrow ravines. At first, Oak Glen seemed to hold steady. The main road, Oak Glen Road, remained open, its asphalt slick but intact. Residents checked their driveways for runoff, cleared drains, and shoveled mud from doorsteps. Visitors who had planned apple-picking weekends stayed away, discouraged by weather reports. Tires spinning uselessly as brown water and muck rose around them. Some drivers were able to reverse and escape, others were not. A silver SUV was the first to vanish, its front wheels buried up to the hood. A sedan behind it tried to swerve but skidded directly into the flow. By the time first responders arrived, at least half a dozen vehicles were stuck. Their headlights glowing dimly through the mud as drivers climbed onto rooftops, waving frantically for help. The moment the hillside broke loose, Oak Glen became unrecognizable. For residents who had lived through fires, windstorms, even the occasional earthquake, this was different. Mudslides are a force of nature that combine the speed of floodwaters with the crushing weight of earth. They don't just wash things away, they swallow them. Witnesses said it started as a roar, then a vibration beneath their feet. Dogs barked, windows rattled. By the time people rushed to their porches, a wall of sludge was already surging down the slope, carrying entire tree trunks and boulders the size of refrigerators.
So beautiful.
On Oak Glen Road, the drivers caught in the flow had no time to think. David Ramirez,
Strange weather out here in Banning, especially in the afternoons.
a delivery driver heading toward Yucaipa, was halfway through his morning route when the slide hit.
And drink some coffee or something. Just watch.
His van jolted sideways as if struck by another vehicle.
I don't know where they went right now. I don't see any
"I thought it was an earthquake," he said later, wrapped in a Red Cross blanket.
clouds are moving in again. Over here, you got sun.
Then I looked out my side window, and all I saw was brown. Mud, branches, water. It was pushing me off the road.
Surrounded by mountains out here.
I floored the gas, but the tires just spun. That's when I knew I had to get out. Ramirez kicked open his door as the mud rose past his knees. He scrambled onto the roof of his van, drenched, clutching the side mirror for balance.
Yep, I love it out here in Benny.
Other drivers around him were doing the same, climbing onto car roofs, some with children clinging to them, their voices lost in the rush of water and debris.
Oh, look at these are not limes, they're lemons, folks.
At least a dozen vehicles were stranded within a quarter-mile stretch of road. Some were buried up to their windshields.
When they do, wow, the street's loaded with them.
Others tilted precariously as if ready to topple into the flow. A white pickup truck spun halfway around, its bed crammed with mud and branches,
I love these. Mom gave them to me.
while its driver clung to the roof shouting for help.
It just makes
Residents who lived along the road could only watch in horror. From porches and second-story windows, they saw neighbors trapped in the chaos. Many grabbed phones, calling. Nearby, a silver sedan tilted dangerously as mud piled against its side. Inside, a woman in her 70s sat frozen behind the wheel, too afraid to move. Rescuers smashed her rear window and pulled her out, dragging her through waist-deep sludge to the relative safety of a fire engine parked on higher ground. Meanwhile, above the road, the slide continued to grow. Hillsides sloughed off in sheets, each wave sending more debris tumbling down. Power poles toppled. Fences snapped like matchsticks. Orchards that had stood for decades were drowned in a sea of mud. By noon, Oak Glen Road was unrecognizable. What had been a two-lane highway lined with fruit stands and tourist signs was now a brown river littered with cars, branches, and pieces of shattered homes. The county declared an immediate local emergency. Sheriff's deputies went door to door, urging residents in the slide zone to evacuate. Helicopters circled overhead, relaying images to news stations that broadcast the disaster across Southern California. For the people of Oak Glen, it felt like their town had been ripped out of the ground.
green. Mother Nature just took care of that. Watering it for free. Love that. Look at the skies up there. Storm clouds coming in. I don't think we've seen the end of the rain today. Might even get some more thunder. I love that. But everything kind of like dried up already. Almost like when we were in Florida. But there's such a nice cool breeze. And in between those dark clouds, a really beautiful blue. Look at all these dark clouds. Can't even see the mountains right now. They're covered with clouds. I bet it's raining real